Hey, Captain. Is everything all right? I saw you.
Good afternoon. I hope everyone has enjoyed their lunch. Preface this with I am planning to make myself a cappuccino once all of this is over. So it's going to be my little treat that I'm going to get. In my office, there's some construction going on, so if there's a little bit of vibrations, well, you'll hear the vibrations of my voice. You probably won't hear the vibrations of the work. All I know is that these things might be bleeding in just a little bit. But today, I am working on Bulbra, an interaction from page 10 that I started during the casting process and now putting together some animatics for. I have this tendency sometimes to start something and punctuate with words. Sometimes I will do that, period. I have discomfort that see, and haha, there, I did it again. I said I have discomfort, period. But instead of saying period or exclamation mark or question mark, I just said that. And this is a tendency where I spend most of my time working and I spend a lot of my time alone. So I don't really spend a lot of time talking unless I'm actively forcing myself to talk so I can get it all out. That's part of my process and how I've gone about doing this. I like talking. I really do. I enjoy talking. I enjoy bringing a character to life, but all homage is paid to the script. In almost all things, it's paid to the script. So without the script, we're improvising. And improvisation is problematic. This particular interaction with Bulbra and Captain Dodger is the first time the audience sees or is introduced to Bulbra's character. Thank you.
What happened? All I know is I've been watching the show, and my favorite character, Bartholomew, he went through a little bit of a tough situation. He's got freed from this badnik, but he got to meet his hero, and so he's kind of like, riding high on that sugar rush. And Bing-a-ling-a-ling, all of the characters, at least the Malkians in the series, they have these bell collars. You'll notice in all the designs, that's not just because they're cats. They serve you a utility purpose. In the galaxy of ASO, they are communicators, they are PDAs, they are multifunction utility items, and they can serve almost any purpose, but the most common purpose has been as communicators. So a little video screen emerges from Dodger's collar, and Bulbra is calling from the crane. I would ask more questions, but it would all be hearsay, and there's really not much more I can say. I just don't know. I don't know. The process of there's when it comes to producing, I might be going about this such a back-asswards hardest way possible, but I have to be honest. I don't have the independent resources to fund this, so a lot of this has to be done on my own until I can garner the interest of someone, some angel investor who
who is both interested in seeing a fresh IP come to life, as well as maybe cats. I'm left to do it on my own. I deserve to be paid, but I'm being paid in experience. As disappointing as that is. It's a learning experience, all of it. I'm going to be breaking this up this time around. There's a few things that I talked about while live doing this. For the sake of transparency, I'm pre-recording this after having done most of the work, because usually I'm not talking, I'm drawing, and the focus it takes to both do the animation and to talk about the show to try and explain why you might want to be interested in investing your time into this. That kind of split focus, it ultimately doesn't help. Multitasking doesn't really exist. It's not actually a thing. We can have multiple priorities all at once. However, the primary focus should be put to one thing. You can become really good at multimotoric functions, like driving a stick-shift car. That requires you to be mindful of the road, to be able to control the gas, to control the clutch, to shift, to continue to drive. All of that culminates into something that looks like multitasking, but it's just a refined skill that's just acquired over time of just doing it again and again and again and again. Here I am recording this after the fact, but I am still trying to actually refine the skill of being able to draw and articulate my thoughts at the same time. So there is some portions of this in which I'll jump back to past me, live me. There you'll see, I don't know, Pinterest pop up. I have joy in my voice. Doesn't sound like it, but I do. I'll jump back to Past Me, and I'll let you know when we do that. And Past Me is going to talk a little bit about accents. Talking a little bit about accents, dialects, and the actress that plays Bulbra and what she had brought to the character. For me, instead, I don't really have a lot of notes. I document everything, just about everything I do. I document so that I know it's happened. I can look back on it. But that's just a managing technique for my diagnosed ADHD. I received that diagnosis, and it was during a difficult time for me when I was also struggling with some very serious addictions. And the diagnosis, I received my diagnosis, and then I was medicated with stimulants, and I had focus, or at least I had a certain level of, okay, wow, all right, I'm high. I can just put in the work. But that's all. But that's what the medication did. It just stimulated me. And what the real work has been to develop routines and habits and safer, healthier techniques for managing things like schedule and and racing thoughts and occasional brain stuttering. And sometimes that brain stuttering comes out as verbal stuttering. It is what it is. Pretty soon here, I'm going to jump back to the past me and he's gonna take it away, and he's gonna sound a little silly. He'll probably actually sound a little bit more animated. You might, who knows, you might even enjoy the way that he does things, because he's just fooling around, not trying to be right, just trying to express an idea while he's working. Because period. So with that, I will get ready to hand it off to the past me, and I'll take back over once he's done. In between, and continue to maybe talk about some of the discoveries that I've made for the show and what I'd hope to have happen. Bulbra is an interesting one, however, because I really would like to know, and I just have to make this decision for myself, because I go through the art Bible, see if there's any other depictions we have of Bulbra. That one's not going to help. From the original character designer. Because there is, I think, one piece of design, of artwork that was done, where Bulbra has the regular, has like regular Malkian fingers, and then there's one design in which Bulbra has these just two nubs, and I think it's more interesting if we keep it the two nubs. It could be so super wrong. It'll give her a more alien-like quality, which would be really cool. Yes, it could be really cool. And that might have been the intention of the original character designer, but as I said, I said in an email, the original character designer is also my partner on this production. However, I've released them from their obligations. They have no obligations to the show. It is entirely on me to get done and completed and see it. So my hope is that I can do this, and I am. I take a look at the work products that have been released on YouTube, and I see that there has been some real genuine progress. It's just sometimes the progress isn't as quick or as refined or noticed as we would like it to be. C'est comme ça, as they say. So let's go back to the past and see what we have to say about Bulbra's alien qualities. That it's funny that it's not funny. Jasmine, you, for us, you're an alien, an Australian. Down there, and please pardon me if it sounds New Zealand. A lot of the times I try to go for Australian, and it always comes out New Zealand, eh? Always, no matter what. To say, yeah, you can't do that, dickhead. And I know the cultures are very different, but it's just, it's what I hear. I've had some experiences listening to Australian, and I also know there are so many different dialects of Australian, and in so many different dialects of New Zealand, So it could be all over the place. All over the place. Anyway, let me get the mouth on this one, because she's talking, not me. She's talking. This time around, though, you'll notice you'll notice I'm not doing the jaw thing. I'm gonna kind of keep this a little bit more inexpensive for now, just so that I can get it done quick. She goes, Captain. So I think what I'm gonna do is make this a little bit smaller. Accentuate a little bit more of the mouth feel. And put these wings into their inner position a little bit more. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, she's going to have this, closed mouth. Because sure enough, Jasmine, she doesn't have that kind of, I guess, stereotypical. Her accent is subtle. I remember when I was directing the actress for the Reeds, I did pick up on a slight accent, and I think you will too. I like it. I think it adds a certain level of. There's a pitch accent to Bulbra that Jasmine brings, which brings the character's energy up, constantly up, which is exactly what I asked for. I said the character needs to have that. She's processed everything, and she's in the moment, and in the moment, she is she is your every joyous, happy, best friend. She's got her family here, her new family with the ship, and couldn't be happier. Little secret, only the writer knows this, but now, but let's authorize to reveal it. Her best friend is Paul. She's got a best friend on the ship in Paul, for sure. And so I think you'll hear it, and so the accent that Jasmine provides for the character is, I think it accentuates, and it really helps to draw out the. You can see it now in the character's animation, hopefully. I have some patience. Period. You're more than welcome to my patience. I have some allergies that sometimes make me wonder. If I said that I have allergies, most people would understand what that means. A lot of humans in America tend to get tested for allergies. Citizens in Europe, Japan, they tend to get tested for allergies, and some people have them, some people don't. Some people are allergic to this, some people are allergic to that. One of the more serious consequences or symptoms of allergies is anaphylaxia, or the shutting of the throat. It's a closing in which the throat begins to swell up and close, and in serious conditions it can cause hypoxia, because it ultimately it can start to choke off some of the airwaves. In other times, sometimes it's just like having a lump in the throat. If you would believe me, I was turned into a frog, and actually I still am a little bit of a frog. C'est comme ça. Mon petit corps est blesseur. Trop blesseur. Mais oui, c'est problématique. Non. I experience some of that tendency where I have a feeling in my throat when I begin to talk that it's narrowed, and so I try to open it up instead, and then close it up instead, and then open it up instead. These are vocal exercises and warm-ups for voice actors, and these are things that can help to train the muscles of the voice, because the muscles of the voice are the vocal cords. They vibrate. So when you hear that, the vibration, that's the diaphragm is one of the base muscles of the voice. The voice is supported by the diaphragm and the core. The lungs are a secondary muscle of the voice. So the diaphragm and then the lungs, the vibration of the vocal cords, and then from there it's the mouth and the throat and the nasal cavity and the head space. So all of that, all of those tools culminate in the usage of voice. Voice can go up, voice can go down, and more control of voice gives one a greater breadth of resources they can draw upon. And accent shift is a real thing. But accents are how one of my very good friends got into acting, was studying accents and dialects, and for him, I hold him near. It's almost as though he's just right beside me in my left arm. And he's just there cheering us on, rooting for us, but they're there, you know. You hold on to them. And I think he could have done. He can do a lot more. It's just putting in the time and the effort. Anybody could probably be doing what I'm doing at the level I'm doing it if they put in just half of the work that I put in. I do often have to work twice as hard as everyone else in order to just get to the same playing field as anyone else. So if anybody were to just put in half of the energy, they could be doing what I'm doing. And what I'm doing is, I don't know, hoping and wishing and praying. Because I get really sick and tired of trying to have to pitch and sell and talk when I do think when I hope that the work speaks for itself. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the work, and I do think the work has been and does speak for itself. It's just a long road to go. A long road to get there. And that work that speaks for itself got there because I didn't stop. And I kept doing what I felt, what I had trained myself to do. I did what I trained myself to do. And some of the first things that I trained myself to do were bullshit. Was just make shit up. Some of the first things that I trained myself to do was to spin my experience into something good, because this is my life. You know, I'm high on DXM, on vacation, waking up, and I'm like tied up in the back of somebody's car, you know, and waking up and realizing that, oh shit, I've been kidnapped, but I haven't been gagged. I can speak, and they're in the driver's seat. And I don't know where they're taking me. I don't know where I'm going, but I could freak out. But I don't know. I guess this is my life now, because I don't know how it started. I just woke up here, and so I kind of just have to figure out how to do it all on my own, and or at least figure out what it is that they want. But I'm still like, is this real? Because for a moment of time, I didn't think that it was. I said, maybe it's just a dream. Maybe it's just a dream within a dream. I mean, I am high after all, so maybe this might not be what I think it is. It's a sensory experience. And so these are the things I trained myself to do. After that, like for it goes back a ways. I wanted to always be an actor and make films and make stories. I've been going through and getting rid of, letting go of a lot of old things. And I discovered for a long time I've wanted to perform. I wanted to do that. So I did. Period. In the table read for ASO, when I went through casting, never thought I'd be a casting director, and I don't have the experience. I don't. Nor am I qualified to be a casting director, but I had to do it myself. So I Zoom casted the whole thing. And during the table read that I organized and put together, I gave a little bit of my background to the voice actors so they knew who they were working with. I started my voice acting career as, a high schooler. I got a really nice microphone, and I started just auditioning for stuff online. Two of the big ones that I got were, it was an anime Christmas Carol, and the radio drama for Sea of Stars, Forward Momentum production. And these were big gets and great experiences for learning about how to work. Not just perform, read the lines, but give feedback and keep communication with the director. I wasn't great at it. I was a kid, so, smart-ass kid who just kind of thought he knew everything. I still tried. And professionally, it eventually, my professional career started with Funimation, before Funimation was bought by Sony and merged with Crunchyroll. So way prior to that, I got my first job in Tenchi Muyo War on Gaminar. Joel McDonald gave me my shot, and thank you, Joel. Give thanks. Be sure to give thanks. Period. I've continued to act, but I took a hiatus. I took a long hiatus from everything. And now I'm back into the auditioning in the side. My main priority has been and is putting together this show. But all of the skills are transferable. I hope. I don't know. These are all things that people have said, or this is lingo that's used in the job market, but I don't know what it means. Other than the things that I have done, they influence and they help in what I do today. Because, I'm still here. And I'm still trying. Period. Here I see the mouth shapes are kind of all over the place. Then it's totally not right, but I like them. I think the illustrator does a good job. Because, yeah. One of the other things I trained myself to do is to observe and watch what other experts, masters have done, and then imitate or learn by doing. So watch the masters and then do what they do. And you repeat. And eventually it starts as imitation and then becomes evocation. From evocation, it morphs into something that I don't have a word for. a word in English exists for it. I don't have it. It becomes your own. That's how babies and cubs, pups, infants, that's how all of us start. Even adults, that's how adults learn too. Adults don't like to admit it. They don't like to. Adults want to be treated as adults. They don't want to be treated as kids. They don't want to be infantilized. Adults want the respect they've earned that comes from being an adult, because we were all lied to. Ha ha ha. That someday we would just magically be adults and we would have and get all of the things that adults have and get. So adults really don't like that. But it's still how we learn, by just imitating what we see, evoking what we see, and then creating what we want. I hear. I can take care of myself. Period. Oh. Ay. There's still so much that needs to be done. So the best thing to do is just continue in this moment to keep going. What you see here is something that is included in the animation of ASO that is nonverbal communication. The voice actors provided their voice. The writer provided the script. These were the words, and the voice actor, they brought it to life. However, how through a long, rigorous process of listening to voices and voices, building a database of voices that will be remembered. I remember those voices, and so moving on, I have this database that I'm building of voice actors that I can call upon should the need arise to fill more roles. Nonverbal communication is so much, vast majority, maybe even 85%. Who knows? But it is a large amount. A director, I'd said, someone who knows me. So I think I know you. I think I know you, Mr. Hill. ... I said, yeah, well, let me get off my crutch and try and do this naturally and give up the ideas, the intentions, the things that I have. I'm generating them and then I'm making them. So it's like it's a machine, a constant flow of making and putting out, making and putting out, making and then putting out, and hoping. My assistant is tearing away at her scratching post, Priscilla. It's another concept for a story that I have. I'm full of ideas, everybody. I'm full of them. I got plenty of stories. I got plenty of concepts. I got plenty of intellectual properties. I got tons of stuff that you might like. Just, let's book a meeting. I just don't have I don't have the funds. Nobody does. Nobody has the funds. So, nonverbal comms. She is doing a little fist bump there. Genki. Genki. Is everything all right? I really wanted... I am putting in the mental labor it takes to keep in mind that the characters are going to be communicating in ways more than just the voice. It's going to be more than just the mouth. They're going to be communicating with their head, shoulders, their knees, and their toes. Knees and toes. Knees and toes. And in fact, there is a deaf character that in the series, Josie, the mouse. And I did a little bit of animatic work of signing now generalized ASL. The production is primarily based in America, so ASL. However, I happen to be someone who studies multiple culture signs. I studied in a classroom setting in France, learning Langue des Signes Français, and I've got an email that is sitting in my email box right now from a school in Japan to learn Nihon Shua. So if I could get the message on when I should look at that, because I'm nervous. I'm nervous because they might not like me. They might not like what I have to say, and I really would like to just give this a shot. So I have found, what I said to them was, I have found that by learning a culture's nonverbal communication, by going and learning a culture's sign, by their customs, traditions, and their nonverbals, I have found it easier to integrate and to adapt to those situations. And I don't feel so much like a tourist. I don't feel so much like I am someone, I look like an outsider because I don't look like you, and it becomes very obvious. I present as however I present. I don't know. Each person's going to say, well, they look like this, they look like this, they look like this. I don't know. One of the other things I trained myself is that I trained myself to not look at people as, this is going to sound really, really bad. I trained myself to not look at people as people. I trained myself to everybody, we are all the same except not. We are all extensions of the universe and of nature. And that comes across as people are shapes. People are physical bodies, but people are also their history, their makeup, their wants, their passions. They are their training. People are complex things. And and when we approach people, the brain makes snap decisions. It discriminates based on moments and seconds. And it's those seconds that it makes that. I trained myself to just stop it. Just stop the bullshit. It goes back to the bullshit where I was just imagining that, well, if I just approach each person the same exact way, and that is saying whatever is at the top of my head, and then just being direct and being honest. I don't know. I don't know. I no longer know. These are traits and habits that no longer serve me. So instead, I'm trying to make friends and understand that each person is nuanced and different. And just keep learning. That's all we can do, is just keep learning. keep learning, keep trying, and keep working towards whatever it is you want to keep working towards. Bulbra. She is an inspiring character, I hope. She can be a little annoying. And she knows it. But she is 100% her all the time. It's how she survives. It's how she does this. It's how she gets through. It's just by holding on to herself. She is doing the best that she can to maintain an optimistic and a positive outlook on life, because life has not necessarily been the kindest to her. And yes, you should be inspired by her. I sense. I have excitement, and enthusiasm has been noticed. It's not in me, it's actually outside in space. It's in the space around me. Because I've put all of the excitement and the enthusiasm that I have out into space. And so it's all around me, but I'm not going to take it. I'm giving it freely. And instead, I'm going to try and find that same enthusiasm that was in me from the start and use that to keep moving forward, because I need to continue the animation on this. And it's not easy. So if anyone who has any semblance of if anyone can pick up on this, I really, 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 I want help on this, but I cannot afford to pay for it. I don't have the money. And so I want your interest in this, because somebody out there does. I know that. Somebody out there does have both the interest and the money and is willing to take a shot on somebody who is trying to lead a project. I don't want to sell this project. I want to lead it. But I cannot lead a team if I cannot provide for their needs. And so that's what I'm asking. I'm asking for the financial resources I need to help provide for the team's needs, to pay their salaries so that they can be taken care of while they are assisting me in bringing this story to life. I'm nearing the end now. And I count on you. I count on you. You're my moon and stars. I count on you, and putting these messages in bottles on and publishing these works and putting them out there. It's worth doing. Something that this is a little personal, but one of the things that I do when I don't know what to say, but I'm here and I want to keep this moving, progressing, is I sing. And I hum. And I was leaving an audition very recently, I was leaving an audition, walking up the stairs, and I heard the woman in front of me singing. She had a pretty nice alto. I wanted to support that alto. And so as she's walking up the stairs and she's singing, I start. Adding a little bit of bass baritone to it. Just a little bit. I don't know. We get to the top, she looks back, and the only thing I could think to say is just, I'm trying to support it. I'm trying to support it. Because these are people that, they've got their own lives. They don't got time for cop shit. I don't have reasonable suspicion. I'm not trying to stop anybody. If we're going to stop and talk, then we'll stop and talk. So that's all I thought to say, because I needed to get back into the cold and head into the world and just keep moving forward. Just keep progressing. And A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, a Y, and a Z. You got to work your fundamentals. You have to work fundamentals. I get it. I don't want to work the fundamentals. I've done it already. I don't want to, but you have to. You have to work those fundamentals. Because if you don't have those fundamentals, how are you going to... What are you going to build it upon? What am I going to build this upon? For me? Well, I've appreciated you. It's swell. This production is going to keep moving forward. And hope you have a good rest of the week. Heck, when this releases, it's still pretty early. So you have time.
Hey, Captain. Is everything all right? I saw you fighting with Nature's Bandit. You need us to follow him and bring him back to you?
No, Bulbra, that isn't necessary. I've got another priority here that needs to be resolved.